Call to order. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Pavoni?
Here.
Mr. Corman?
Here?
Mr. Prince?
Here.
Mr. Person?
Here.
Ms. Witchy?
Here.
Mr. McGurven? Ms. Perez?
Here.
Roll call, Mr. Mayor, one absent.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Prince.
I move we excuse the absent council member.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Prince, second by Mr. Corman, that we will excuse Councilmember McGurven. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. First item on the agenda are a couple of proclamations. First one's going to be read by our Administrator Jan Hahn.
Thank you. First proclamation is the Municipal Clerks Week. Whereas the office of the municipal clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk is among the oldest among public servants, and whereas the office of the municipal clerk provides the professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and agencies of government at all levels, whereas municipal clerks have pledged to be ever mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, whereas the municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and community, and whereas municipal clerks continually strive to improve the administration of affairs of the office of municipal clerk through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and annual meetings of their state, province, county, and international professional organizations. And whereas it is most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the office of the municipal clerk, now therefore I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim the week of May 7th to 13th, 2017 to be Municipal Clerks Week in the City of Renton, and further extend appreciation to our municipal clerk, Jason Seth, and to all the municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and their exemplary dedication to the communities they represent. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 8th day of May 2017, signed Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton.
Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And it's our pleasure to present this evening to our Deputy City Clerk, Megan Greger.
On behalf of our absent city clerk at the moment and the rest of our city clerk division, we just would like to thank you all for making our work truly the best that there is. So you are wonderful. We do work for the best city in King County, and thank you.
Thank you, Megan.
Mr. Mayor, I just was wondering, the two references to being time-honored and the oldest public servant, I'm not sure that really reflects Megan, but maybe it does.
I think she felt it reflect on Jason.
Yes.
So we'll just have to let them
That
battle
would be
that out
accurate.
later on. Thank you. Thanks, Jen.
Okay, the second proclamation is for Affordable Housing Week. Whereas all people should have access to safe, healthy, and affordable homes within communities of opportunity, and whereas studies have found that each $100 increase in median rent results in a 15% increase in homelessness in metro areas and a 39% increase in homelessness in nearby suburbs and rural areas. And whereas in the Renton area, 2,365 families are considered housing insecure because they are spending more than half of their income on rent and utilities. And whereas everyone benefits from affordable housing, including the people who reside in these properties, their neighbors, businesses, employers, and the community as a whole. And whereas the Association of Washington Cities determined that enhancing efforts to increase affordable housing, decrease homelessness, and improve a strained behavioral health system was a critical priority for the 2017 legislative session. And whereas united in an effort to raise public awareness, communities throughout King County are participating in a local affordable housing week to inform the public of the critical need to preserve and increase affordable housing in our communities. And whereas the City of Renton endorses the goals, objectives, and purposes of the Affordable Housing Week. Now, therefore, I, Dennis Law, Mayor of the City of Renton, do hereby proclaim May 15th through 22nd, 2017 to be Affordable Housing Week in the City of Renton, and I encourage all citizens to join me in this special observance as we commit to ensuring that our community thrives with opportunity and that all people in it live with dignity in safe, healthy, and affordable homes. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Renton to be affixed this 15th day of May, 2017. And this is signed by Dennis Law, Mayor.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move the proclamation be adopted as read.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince, that this proclamation be adopted as read. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And it's our pleasure to present this proclamation to the person who knows more about affordable housing issues than anybody in the city of Renton, and that's Mark Roper, Executive Director of the Renton Housing Authority. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, President Pavoni, the rest of you council members. I appreciate this opportunity to reflect on the importance of affordable housing. Earlier this afternoon, I was down at the King County Council meeting and had an opportunity to witness the proclamation presented by Councilwoman Balducci and Councilwoman Cole Wells. And it really struck me the somber tone that the council meeting took as they provided us with some statistics that I think we've heard before, but in that setting really struck me. That at present, there are 8,000 children in King County that say they have no home, no stable address. So they are couch surfing, they're living with mom out of their car, they're in a shelter, or otherwise homeless. We have a moral imperative to do something to help these kids, or we're going to have another generation that will be in a tighter spot than what we're already seeing now with blue tarps and jungles and folks that are in harm's way and out in the elements. So it's with a great deal of appreciation that I thank the City of Renton for its partnership with its housing authority. I'm so pleased that this July we'll be breaking ground on 50 townhomes and apartments in the Sunset Court property, and that soon we will see greater progress even still in the Sunset area and some of the other projects that your housing authority is undertaking. But I do implore you to explore ways in which we can bring more tools to the table and more resources. To build 50 townhomes will certainly feel like we're moving the needle a little bit here in Renton, but with waiting lists for affordable housing at my agency that exceed 7 years, and those are for largely families that are in our immediate neighborhoods, we cannot afford to sit idle by and expect that resources are going to come our way to help unless we are clamoring for them and being very creative and aggressive in putting together financial packages that make good sense, whether it's using tax credits coupled with bonds, coupled with our cash flow capacity for underwriting rents and subsidizing homes, and just building decent, safe, affordable, quality, sustainable houses that our families and our seniors and disabled folks in this community can enjoy, so that they can spend less than half of every dollar they make on housing. So thank you for this, and we have much work ahead, but I commit to you that you have my full and undivided commitment to making sure that we well house our families here in Renton. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark. Okay, moving on to administrative report, Mr. Covington.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council, one particular item, just want to let you and the general public know that this Saturday, May 20th, from 8 to 12:30, King County and the Cedar River Council are hosting a Cedar River cleanup project. If you'd like to volunteer, meet at 8 a.m. at the Riverbend Clubhouse that's located at 17410 Southeast Renton Maple Valley Road for a brief orientation and to pick up some supplies. Volunteers will then be dispersed into groups along various locations, along the river can assist in picking up trash and the banks of the river. Trash bags and gloves will be provided, but people ought to be prepared to, you're walking along a riverbank, so wear the right kind of clothing and shoes. If people have any questions, they can get a hold of us, Sea River Coordinating Council as well, and at the King County. We'll post that information on our website as well, so people have that. In addition to that, just a reminder, a number of construction projects, road and street construction projects continue, and as always, encourage people to be cautious when they're passing through those construction zones, be courteous, and be patient. That's all, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Covington. Moving on to audience comments, we have one person signed up to address the council. Our friend from Puget Sound Energy, Kara Durbin.
Thank you, Mayor Law, council members. I am Kara Durbin, Local Government Affairs Rep for Puget Sound Energy on the Energize Eastside project. PSC is located in Bellevue. You just received an update from your staff on the project, and you gave us some good feedback to consider, so I was taking notes during that, so thank you. I'll do my best not to repeat what Jennifer covered, but just make a couple of points. As she indicated last week, we did reach a milestone with the release of the draft EIS for Phase 2. And while we're still very much reviewing the details in the draft, we really appreciate all the thorough work and hard work that went into the city's analysis of the project, and we'll look very closely at the EIS team's recommendations. In general, the EIS supports what we've been saying all along about the project, which is that we can build this project safely, and we believe building it in the existing corridor is the least impactful way to do that. The EIS does talk about potential harm to the east side if the project doesn't get permitted and built on time. And specifically, it says, quote, awareness of the risk of outages could discourage development within the east side that would place partner cities at an economic development disadvantage to other jurisdictions in the region. And we don't want to see that happen, and we don't think that planning for rolling blackouts is an acceptable solution. And so that's why we're pursuing this project and doing everything we can to keep it on track. As Jennifer noted, there will be opportunities for your constituents to comment on the EIS in the upcoming weeks, with the public hearing at Oliver Hazen High School on Tuesday, May 23rd. And there'll also be hearings in Bellevue and Redmond, and we'll be there listening at all of those. And feedback can also be either given at those meetings or provided in writing through the end of the comment period. So in the meantime, we'll continue doing field work and meeting with property owners along the corridor. We're now at a point in our design where we can actually meet with owners one-on-one and discuss in detail what our landscaping and vegetation plans look like, what tree replacement looks like. We know that our customers value trees, and so do we. So we want to have a chance to work with your staff and with those property owners on how we can work to replace any trees that are removed as a result of the project. In terms of next steps, so we're looking very closely again at what the EIS says over the next few weeks as we finalize our design work. And we expect to select a final route and submit permit applications this summer. And it's important that we do that to keep this project on track and have the infrastructure in place to meet the growth that we've seen and the growth that we project for all of our East Side communities. So thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Kara. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda, we have 10 items for council consideration. Are there any items a council member would like pulled for discussion?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Pavoni.
I move the council concur with the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Pavoni, second by Mr. Prince. The council concur with the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Pavoni.
No unfinished business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Corman.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do not have a report to present for council concurrence, but I'd just like to give a quick status report on the dangerous dog discussion. A few weeks ago, there were a number of members of the public here very concerned, and they shared comments about getting menaced by dogs or being charged at, and shared a very sad story about a dog that had been killed by another dog. And so we did meet in Public Safety Committee today, and we're going to continue the discussion. But one of the discoveries, really, or as the committee worked through this, was that our city's dangerous dog ordinance actually closely mirrors the state law, and that's the change we made back in 2009. And really, at that time, we did put stronger language about dogs, about dangerous dogs. But we intentionally at that time took that ordinance and matched the state law so that when people moved with a dog from one jurisdiction to another, if it had a record of being dangerous, that record sort of went with that dog. And the penalties under the state law that we're matching actually can rise to a felony. So if somebody's dog maims a person or kills another dog and then goes on and does that same sort of thing again, that can be a felony. However, it was pointed out to us at the council meeting that that's too late, that once the dog has killed another dog, it's somebody's just lost their pet dog, which is like a member of the family. So where we're going with this is we can overlay, we can keep that language the same about the dangerous dog ordinance, so that's still in place, so so you can still be charged with a felony under the state law. But then we'll also add where the concept, and we'll bring it back, but is that we would also add vicious animal ordinance that's more misdemeanor kind of ordinance that would be in addition. And so we could put in items about dogs that charge at people walking, or that are menacing, or that frighten people away from using the public walkways, and make some of those specific offenses within the city of Renton, and lead to criminal charges if people are out of compliance. One other discovery through our discussions was that some of these dog-related offenses now are infractions, which means that an officer has to actually physically witness it for themselves in order to be charged with that infraction. So neighbors might call the police and say, hey, 10 minutes ago this happened, but if the officer didn't see it, they can't issue an infraction. We are talking about some of these worst behaviors, moving them to a criminal level, a misdemeanor level, because then basically the rules of evidence would apply, and if somebody has a video of this dog charging and could be a witness, you could actually use that evidence to make a charge. So anyways, that's the direction we're going. The city attorney is going to provide the Public Safety Committee with a memo, which would be available for public consumption and input in a couple weeks' time, I think, to have the public have a look at that. So for anybody interested, that's where we're going with that.
Okay, Mr. Corman, thank you for the update. Mr. Prince?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Person?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, your Finance Committee report.
The Finance Committee report is regarding approval of claims and payroll vouchers. The Finance Committee approves for payment on May 15th, 2017, claims vouchers 355951, 355960 through 355980, 356008 through 356327, 5385 through 5396, 10011 through 10014, and one wire transfer and one payroll run with benefit withholding payments totaling $7,284,856.32, and payroll vouchers including 611 direct deposits and 34 payroll vouchers totaling $1,243,984.31. And this is signed by the committee chair and members.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Mr. Person?
I move the council concur in the recommendation of the Finance Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Prince, that council concur with the Finance Committee report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Witchy?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Community Services Committee has one committee report.
The Community Services Committee report is regarding appointment of Shun Takano to the Parks Commission. The Community Services Department recommends concurrence in Mayor Law's appointment of Mr. Shun Takanoto to the Parks Commission to fill a term which expires on October 1st, 2018. And this is signed by the committee chair and member.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Ms. Witchy?
I move that the council concur with the recommendation of the Community Services Committee.
Second.
It's been moved by Ms. Witchy, seconded by Ms. Perez, that council concur with the Community Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Ms. Witchy.
Mr. Shun Takanoto is here this evening, and the Parks Commission received quite a few applications, all very good, by the way, and Mr. Takanoto was nominated almost unanimously, actually was the unanimous choice for our open position.
Which is great, and we really appreciate your willingness to serve on the commission and to be here this evening.
I appreciate the opportunity to serve the city of Renton, especially in the parks.
Great. Thank you very much for being here.
That is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Perez?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Moving on to new business, Mr. Pavoni.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. First of all, on May 22nd, Monday, 6 PM, the Committee of the Whole will meet in the conferencing center. Yeah, the conferencing center. We have one issue there. It's economic development update, including the Mill Avenue. And then we will move to chambers at approximately 6:30. We'll have one issue there, and it's 2017 Neighborhood Grant Programs Briefing. And also, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make an announcement. The council has an invitation for a neighborhood meeting that's this Thursday. It's the North Renton Neighborhood Association, and there's a number of council members that are possibly attending. There possibly might be a quorum. There'll be no action taken, and that is all, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Corman?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. I'd like to announce a Public Safety Committee meeting for Monday, May 22nd at 5:00 PM. And that will be in the council conference room. There's two items on that agenda. The first is a vehicle trespass ordinance, and we want to look again at people testing cars to break in, and the car's locked, and they don't break in, but it still seems like it's a criminal trespass. And then the other second item is emerging issues in police and fire. And that's
Okay.
all, Mr. Mayor.
Great, thank you. Mr. Prince?
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Mr. Person?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the Finance Committee will meet next Monday, May 22nd at 4:30 PM in the council conference room. We have three topics: vouchers, farmers market, King County Conservation District grant, and three emerging issues in revenue streams. And on top of that, I move that the topic of the carry forward budget process / policy be referred to the Finance Committee.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Mr. Prince, that the carry forward budget process and policy be referred to the Finance Committee. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Ayes have it.
And then, Mr. Mayor, the second one is a kind of a question to the council. The state law on speed limits has changed. And if you look at a Metro bus, you have Seattle showing the new speed limits at 20 miles an hour in residential areas and 25 otherwheres. Over the years, we've had several requests by the public to have their neighborhood a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit zone. And until there was this change in the state law, we would always tell them, which was true, that we couldn't lower the speed below 25 miles an hour because the state law said that's all that we had the authority to do. Obviously, this has changed, and I would like to have a discussion on this, but I'm kind of looking for direction from the council, which way to go, whether the whole committee of the whole would like to hear it and learn about it, or just run it through the transportation committee. So
Any ideas?
Or public safety.
Yeah.
or public safety.
If you'd like, we could do some research on it, run it through whichever committee you choose, and then bring it to committee of the whole. There's some action to be taken.
Okay, because I think it's important enough that the whole committee, the whole council gets the briefing and input into whether we should do it or we shouldn't do it or that.
Sure.
So, Actually, I move that we refer this issue to the Transportation Committee.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Mr. Person, seconded by Ms. Perez, that the topic of speed limits be referred to the Transportation Committee. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, Ms. Witchy.
That's it.
No new business, Mr. Mayor?
Okay, Ms. Perez.
No new business, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, what's the wish of the council?
Move we adjourn?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.